Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Can We Talk Family. I am so glad you guys decided to join us. Guess what? I have a special guest for you guys. Woo! This is my niece. This is Miss Brianna. And she is with us to share the word tonight. I'm so honored that she has accepted the call to minister to you as well. We have a great topic for you tonight, but just a little bit about Rihanna. God has put in her heart to start a ministry. She started January of this year, 2020. It's called VOW. The acronym VOW is Visions of Worthiness. And her main focus, of course, she has many talents God has blessed her with, but one of them is teaching dance and step to the youth. It originated with that vision, but since then, God has expounded what she's going to be doing up under this umbrella. She started a family they dance step on Saturdays. We went 8 weeks and we were joining her in dance and exercise. And I got a little fit, and this injury is not from that. Okay, this was something else, but I definitely was feeling good about it. And we had friends and family all joining in with us. It was awesome. So she just closed that out. Now God has her diving into another aspect of the ministry, which would be for women who are having issues with their wombs, WOMBS. So stay tuned because that's going to be coming forth real soon. But she does teach dance privately and in groups. So if you want to have her do that for you, she would love to do that as well. Very talented. Ms. Rihanna, do you have anything you want to say before we start?
Just thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being obedient and reaching out to me when God put you on will put me on your heart. And thank you very much. Just thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Awesome. Okay, so let's get in the word. Okay. All
Yes.
right. Okay. So we're gonna talk about this woman. She's the Shunamite. Shunamite. Last week we talked about the Shulamite. This week we're talking about the Shunammite. Okay. And when I tell you she was awesome, oh my Lord, you're gonna
Yeah.
find out. She is awesome, right, Rihanna? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
She is a true woman of God. If you need an example of a woman who walks by faith and not sight, this is her. This is her. All right. So I like to tell the story, right? And then Brianna gonna bring it all to you on the second part. All right. Y'all ready? All right. Put on your
Yes.
seatbelt. Here we go. Okay. So the Shunammite woman, right? Physically, she was well off. Okay. She had no need for nothing. Her and her husband, they, were pretty good. They were pretty situated financially. So there was a prophet, Elisha, okay? And he was coming through town, and he'd come through town every couple of days. And so she knew that he was a holy man of God. She seen that in her shanana, okay? So she talked to her husband. She was like, you know what? Let's invite him over to eat. So they invited him over to eat, and he enjoyed his meal, and it was a blessing to them. And after that, whenever he was in town, he would come and talk to them. So she got with her husband. She was like, boo, every time Elisha comes to town, this holy man of God, he really doesn't have a place to stay. So how about we prepare a room for him and put a bed and a chair and a desk up in there? All right, there's a message in that: a bed, a chair, and a desk. Okay, so she said, let's put these things in the room. And so every time he comes to town, he will have a place to lay his head. So her husband, he was like, you know what? That sounds good. Let's do that. So they prepared a room for him upstairs. And so after that, each time that Elisha would come into town of Shunem, he would stay at their house. Okay. So Elisha, he had an epiphany one day. He was like, you know what? She's been really good to us. They have been really, really good to us. So what we could do, let's see what we can do for her. So he was talking to Gehazi, his servant. He was like, let's see what we can do for her. So they called her in the room, and he was like, you've been really kind to us. What is it that we can do for you? And she was like, it is well. I'm good. I have everything that I need. I'm with my people. Financially, me and my husband are blessed. We are good. So she went, she walked away and went out of the room. And so, Elijah, he was like, Gehazi, come here, man. Man, she talking about she don't need nothing. She good. You know, I, that truly she must be something. I just want to do something for her because she been so good to us. And so Gehazi, he was like, well, man, the only thing I know is that she don't have no son yet. And her husband, man, he old. So remember back then it was an honor to have a child and it was considered a disgrace not to. So, but now thinking of the Shunamite woman, she wasn't complaining. She wasn't mad. She wasn't angry that she didn't have a child. She just accepted the situation. I'm the same way. I never had a child. I just accepted the situation and just continue to still bless people. So this was a Shunamite woman. She was okay with that. She was cool. So, Elisha said, Gehazi, go get her. So he called her back in there and he was like, look, you don't have a son, but by next year, this time, you're going to have a son. And she was like, man of God, stop playing with me. I didn't ask for no son. I don't want no son. Don't be playing with me. Don't be trying to trick me. And he was like, no, next year, this time, you will have a child. So a year goes by and true to his word, God gave her a son. So she loved that son dearly. She loved him and nurtured him and was teaching him in the word. And he grew to be able to start working in the field with his dad, right? So one day they're in the field and he runs to his dad and he's like, Dad, my head hurts. And dad was like, oh my goodness. Okay. So he had his servant take the son to the mother. So the servant picked him up and took him and carried him to the Shunamite woman and sat him on her lap. So the mother hugged him. I could just picture her rocking back and forth and praying for her son. And while he was laying there, about noontime, he went to sleep in the Lord. He died. Now imagine the grief that a mother felt. Imagine that if you're a mother and your son dies in your lap. Imagine. But this mother, she got up, she picked up her son, she went into the house, she went upstairs, she laid him on the bed that Elisha had been sleeping in, right? She laid him down, put the little blanket on him, and she walked out the room and closed the door and locked it behind her. Then she went downstairs and she found her husband. She was like, husband, give me a donkey and a servant. I've got to go see the man of God. Now she didn't keep in mind, she didn't tell her husband that their son just died. Okay. Only she knew this. And she's not crying or breaking down. This woman, I'm telling you, the faith. You see this, you see this. So she's like, give me and he's like, well, why are you going to go see him? Today ain't Sunday, ain't no church going on. Why are you going to see him? And again, she says, it is well. It is well. And so she saddles up the donkey herself. Then she gets the servant. She hops on the donkey. She said, all right, get me to the holy man as fast as you can. And if I tell you you're going too fast, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, don't even stop. Don't stop for nothing. Get in a hurry and get me to the holy man of God. So the servant was rushing, getting her to there. And it was about, I did my research, it's about 5 miles away. 5 miles away. So he's running, pulling the donkey and going as fast as they can. And donkeys, they be like, yeehaw. But I can just imagine him like, yeehaw, 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 and she's walking, riding on it, and serving is running fast as she can to get to this man of God. So now guess who sees her? The man of God, Elisha. He sees her afar off and he was like, Gehazi, that's the Shunamite woman. Run to her and find out what's going on. Go find out what's going on. So Gehazi runs to her, and he's like, what's going on? You all right? What's going on? She said, again, it is well. It is well. So he gets back to the Elisha. He's like, she said, ain't nothing wrong. Everything is good. So she finally gets to Elijah, the holy man of God, and she gets off of her donkey and she falls at his feet, form of worship. She falls at his feet and she grabs him and holds him tight. And then she lifts her heads up and she says, why? Why did you give me my son? I didn't ask for him. So at this point, keep in mind, Elijah, God had not revealed to Elijah what was going on with the Shunamite woman. He was like, so while she's holding on and pulling tight, Gehazi is trying to take her away from him. And he's like, no, leave her alone. There's something going on. God hadn't revealed it to me yet. So that's when she told him. I had to back up right there. But that's when she told him, why'd you give me him? I didn't ask for him. I didn't want no son. So immediately, Elisha was like, Oh my goodness, Gehazi. Okay, grab my staff and get to her son as fast as you can. Don't talk to nobody. Don't stop for no water. Don't even stop to eat. Get there as fast as you can
Yeah.
to to the Shunamite son. Find him and put the staff over his face. So he gave him the specific instructions. So Gehazi was getting ready to go. And guess what the Shunamite did? She did what all of us would have did. Oh no, you not leaving me. Hold on. No, I'm going with you. I'm going with you. You not leaving me. So she takes off in front of him, on the donkey. And so she's hopping and trotting on the donkey. And Gehazi, still fast as he was, slow as that donkey was, he still was able to get to her son before she did. Okay, so he goes upstairs and he finds the son asleep in the Lord, and he places the staff over his face, and he realizes he's gone. He's asleep in the Lord. He goes downstairs. He runs toward Elisha, who's on his way, and he tells her son is dead. Her son is dead. And Elijah immediately gets to the house. He goes up the stairs. He sees the son, realizes he's asleep in the Lord, and he shuts the door, turns around and shuts the door and locks it. He don't just shut it. So now it's just him, Gehazi, his servant, and the son laying on the bed. The son is Elijah begins to pray. And so him and Gehazi are in prayer, talking to God. So then he stops and he lays on his body on top of the son, eyes to eyes, nose to nose, mouth to mouth, and hands to hands. Eyes to eyes. The Bible says eyes to eyes, mouth to mouth, hands to hands. I added nose just for my own sake, but eyes, mouth, hands. Remember that. He lays across him, his full body on him until the body of the son became warm. Elijah gets up now. He begins to pace the floor and he's still talking to God, still praying to God. And then he goes and lays his full body on the son again. Eyes to eyes, mouth to mouth, hands to hands. And what does the son do? Achoo, 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 achoo. He sneezes 7 times, 7 times. Y'all know about that number. 7 times he sneezes, and then he wakes up. Elijah and Gehazi, they're excited. Glory to God. I can imagine him praising him. Elijah turns to Gehazi, go and get the mama. Go and get her. Tell her to come up here real quick. So Gehazi goes and gets her. She comes in. Elijah says, there is your son. Hug your son. What does the Shunamite woman do? She goes and worships at Elijah's feet again, gives God praise for the healing. Then she gets up and she goes and loves on her son. Okay? Powerful word, powerful word, all kind of messages up in
Yeah.
there. All right, and now I'm gonna pass it on. Wrong way. Wrong way. Still the wrong way. There we go.
That is so good. That is so good.
Yes, yes.
Um, like you said, there is so many messages up in this. When you had given me this to even study, I was just like, Lord, like what is it? There's so many, and everybody can get so much from just these, from verse 8 to 37. There's so much in it. But what stuck out to me, because this is a women's Bible study, we're learning about women, characteristic of women, and what we should try to model and implement, or just different ways that we as women should try to carry ourselves in ways that we should not.
Yes.
So her characteristic really stood out for me. And it's funny because